Good morning, you guys, and welcome back to my channel for another video. Today's video, I am going to be doing a homeschool with me. If you're new to my channel, I am a homeschooling mom of 4, and I have children in high school, middle school, and elementary school for the very first time in my homeschooling journey. So I figured this would be a really excellent video to show you guys as moms and homeschoolers who have kids who are younger than mine, just how I personally manage homeschooling kids spanning lots of grades and ability levels. I obviously homeschool in a way that is best suited for my family and for our desires for our homeschool. So this might look very different for your family, and that is totally fine. But I wanted to kind of show you guys how I'm juggling things. We have been back to school now for a few weeks, and so I feel like we are getting back into our rhythms and routines for our homeschooling year. Before I go any farther though, I do want to thank today's video sponsor, and it is ButcherBox. I have been working with ButcherBox for quite a while now, and that is because I absolutely love the convenience and reliability of my box showing up on my doorstep with my customized choices of exactly what meats and cuts I want in my box. They have an amazing promo going on right now that I'm going to share with you guys here in a few minutes that they have never offered before. So make sure that you guys check out the links that will be down in the description. But I wanted to give you guys a little intro. I'm going to take you through my day as a homeschooling mom, just focusing on the homeschool. So this will be different than a day in the life in the aspect of I'm not going to show you anything else I'm doing today. I'm just going to show you guys our homeschooling routine. It is similar day to day, but it's not identical. So also keep that in mind. So the kids are finishing up their chores, as you can see. We already had to run to the chiropractor. I've been up for quite a few hours by now, and I'm getting started with this. It's currently 8:45. I like to start at 8:30, but we're having to be flexible because of those chiropractic appointments. So we're gonna start a little bit later, but the routine will be the same nonetheless. And that is why I do not plan on a time schedule. It's just we start when we start and we go in the same order. And so I like to start at 8:30, that's my goal, but sometimes life has other things for us to take care of. So anyways, just wanted to share what you guys are gonna see. If you enjoy this video or this type of content, give me a thumbs up right now. You do not have to wait until the end of the video. So one thing that I do before I start my homeschool day, amongst many other things, is decide what my family is having for dinner. Tonight, I'm gonna be making some simple teriyaki chicken because like I told you guys, my ButcherBox arrived just the other day. I always choose the beef and chicken box because that is what my family eats the most. But ButcherBox does have 4 curated boxes where you can decide what types of meat or seafood you would like. And they also have the option to completely customize your box. So 5 different choices to choose from ButcherBox. You guys may not be familiar with how ButcherBox works, so I wanted to just briefly tell you guys about them. ButcherBox sources their meat and their seafood from farmers and fishers who meet the highest standards, which is reflected in the quality and the taste of the meat. I've shared with you guys in past videos that my family can truly taste the difference in ButcherBox's chicken over chicken we would be buying just at our regular grocery store. There is a taste difference to it. Even my kids notice it. I also personally recognize a little bit of a difference in the texture of the meat, and we just absolutely love it. So once you go on to ButcherBox's website and you choose what box you want, or if you want to get the fully customizable box, your meat or seafood or a little bit of both arrives fresh to your door, packaged perfectly, frozen at its perfect peak of freshness, so it arrives just that way. Every time my box arrives, I'm always impressed with how the meat is in there with the dry ice. It is completely frozen still, and all of the materials that ButcherBox sends are also recyclable, which is awesome. So I just unpack it, put it in my freezer, and put my box out to the recycling. And then when I make my menu plan or my grocery order or whatever I'm doing that week, I do not need to grab chicken or beef because I've received my Butcher Box. Another really awesome thing about Butcher Box is that there's no contracts. And so if you get a box and you decide you don't want to get one the next month or even the next few months, you can always pause your boxes, and there's no cancellation fees or anything like that to keep up with, because we all know that those dealing with like forgetting something like that is not always fun. So I like to mention that as well. So I want to tell you guys about the offer that Butcher Box has never offered before, because I know you guys, being moms of obviously having children at home, chicken is probably something that you cook with often. Chicken is probably our most used meat product that we consume as a family. And so Butcher Box right now, only available through the link that is down below, is giving you guys free chicken for a year. So if you use the link that is down below, you will get 2 pounds of free range organic chicken breasts in every order for an entire year. So that is an awesome deal. Take advantage of it. You guys will taste the quality difference in Butcher Box's chicken, all of their meats, but specifically the chicken is something that we notice. So you guys can check all of that out with the links down below. Make sure you take advantage of that chicken for a year offer from Butcher Box. And thank you so much, Butcher Box, for partnering with me on today's video. All right, so we start our homeschool around our kitchen table for what I like to call morning time, or it's basically morning basket. You'll see lots of different families doing this differently. Some people do morning basket on the couch. Some people do morning basket outside. Some people do it around the table. That is the way that we do it. We do morning basket around our table most often. And so you guys have probably seen me doing morning basket in a lot of my day in the life videos if you watch. But in this video, I wanted to basically break down in more detail, how I homeschool. So in morning time, we cover a vast variety of topics. That is generally the appeal of doing morning basket. It's the idea that our children can learn and benefit from cycling through a variety of different materials on different subject matters and learn a lot through doing that. I also find that doing morning time, the most important aspect of it is the connection that it brings to the family. So like I told you guys, high school or middle school, high schoolers, middle school, and elementary school, but it's very important for me to still connect with my kids on a daily basis, for us to be learning as a family together. And so morning basket encompasses family subjects as well. So like I said, no 2 days are the same, but in general, what we do for morning basket is we start with some scripture copy work in their, right now they're going through Proverbs, so scripture copy work. Then we move on to a Bible study. I have the ones that we are using linked down below for you guys. Dependent upon what the Bible study prompted for that day, we might discuss it or we may not. There is a scripture memory verse that they then practice working on memorizing. Following that, I take us into current and world events. We watch a 10-minute news segment from World Watch News, and I have been asking them for a link to share with you guys. So if I have one, I'll put it down below. After we do World Watch News, we then pray. I generally lead us in prayer, but sometimes I'll ask one of my children to pray. That is kind of our beginning portion. After that, we move on to reading a variety of books. And here's where the morning cart thing comes in. So here's the cart. These are all different materials. I created a little bit of a schedule of what I'm going to be alternating through. As far as science and history, we do those on opposing days. And some things like this course right here, this apologetics course, I don't do with my younger kids because this is a high school course. So today we're actually doing this, and so you're gonna see maybe what my younger kids go and do during that time. But today we are gonna read a poem together. I'm gonna read a psalm to them, Psalm 5, I believe we're on, and discuss it. We're going through maturation and reproduction, so we're gonna do a quick little lesson on that. And then we're going to read from our life skills book and discuss that. And then this is our current read aloud right now. I'm hosting a book club this year with just my 2 friends. And this was our first book. So we're gonna read a chapter or 2 in here. After that, that's when I will begin my apologetics teaching with my older 2 kids, and my younger 2 kids will then work on, during that time, their assigned reading for school, their handwriting work page, their wordly wise. One of them has typing still. So those are the things that I have them work on while I do something like this, so that they're not sitting with idle time. I do not let them go on and do like their math lessons or their language arts lessons, because I want to ensure that they understand what they're doing. And so I don't count those subjects as independent. So that's a little bit of an explanation of how I start our homeschool morning. We generally start at 8:30, and even with me doing either science and apologetics, that happens on the same day, or history, it takes us about 90 minutes. So we're starting at 9:05 because we had to go to the chiropractor this morning. So just keep that in mind, but wanted to explain, and I'll pop in as we go throughout the day to kind of give you guys a little bit of an explanation of where we are. Once we're done with morning time, everybody takes a snack break. So that's a little bit of how I homeschool in the morning, but we are going to get started now. You today. Forgive me for lying to my parents and for being mean to my sister. Thank you for your forgiveness, and thank you that I can come near to you because of Jesus. Thank you for listening. So try reshaping Psalm 5 into your own words and your prayer. Share what's really on your heart. Where do you need God's help in your life, and where do you need forgiveness? What are you thankful for? Offer your words to God as a prayer. So the Psalms help us to pray, and they help us to be reminded of the way that we should pray. We should always be seeking forgiveness in our prayer, because not a single one of us is without sin for the day. We should always be thankful in our prayers, and we should always submit what is really on our heart to God, because after all, He already knows. He already knows what's on our heart. So even if we don't want to outwardly admit it, He knows. So the reason why we need to admit it, though, is because it's an act of humbleness. It's being truthful with yourself. So for example, if you're really struggling with jealousy, but you don't want to pray, Lord, forgive me for my jealousy. Lord, please forgive me for the thoughts that I have toward this person that I am jealous of. If you don't want to humble yourself enough to say those words in your prayer, the Lord already knows about your jealous heart. So it's you just not being willing to submit and bring it to Christ in prayer. So those are the things that we should. each time hoping he would be allowed to stay, even if they couldn't understand his music. The Pods, who recently lost a member, were the easiest to join. He knew them by their songs made of low, mournful tones, announcing their grief to the ocean. They swam with an empty space, carrying the shadow of a whale who used to be. Whether they craved a new whale... So it is about 10:30 now. We're running a little bit longer than usual, which sometimes that happens if we get into a good conversation, and I always welcome that because that is the point of homeschooling, not to stay on some regimented time schedule. So my younger two kids just went upstairs. Like I told you guys, they're gonna work on handwriting, wordly wise, some silent reading, while I do apologetics with my older kids. So we do this on science days. So I do science with my younger two. Now that I have two high schoolers, they've moved on from doing science with us as a family, which is a crossroads in our homeschool, but we're welcoming the change. So this is what I do with my older two, because I don't want to lose those moments of teaching and connection, and I couldn't think of a better subject to teach and discuss with my teens than apologetics. So my younger ones work independently while we still sit down here and we go through this together. I only have one set of the books right now. I might end up buying another one if this becomes a problem, but for now we're just gonna pass it around and read it together. So that is what I'm going to do next.
Full stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful delight. Forgo. Give up everything that I own.
So we just wrapped up our apologetics, and I am just putting everything away. I try to clean up as I go because we obviously have dinner and lunch here at our table. So I just quickly will put that away, and then I will head upstairs to continue on with my school day, usually starting with language arts with my 5th grader and my 7th grader, and then they both move on to math. So that, and my older kids have their rhythms and flows, which I've shown in another video, so they know what to start with. So right when I come upstairs, I will generally check on everything that's been completed so far. She just showed me her typing lesson, so that looked good, and I just verify that it's been done and it's correct. And then just they show me that they've done their handwriting. Obviously it's handwriting. Wordly wise, I will check to make sure that they were doing it correctly. And then after that, then we get started on the very first thing that we do together, which is language arts. I generally will read the parent section with her first, and then she just moves through the lesson. We use the good and the beautiful, and so it's very simple. The parent section's always first, and then the student section. So that is what we do. And then after she's done with that, then I'll check it off before she goes on to math. So with my younger kids, we correct any mistakes right away, and we talk about them and we explain them so that they make sure that they understand. So I'm working with her and my 7th grader, who is doing his laundry. That's his life skill that he's learning this year. My older two kids, you guys can see behind me, they all have rhythms that I gave them for the order in which they need to complete things. Sometimes they try or they want to deviate from that for, you know, like a test or a quiz or something that they want to get out of the way, which I'm okay with, but on the day-to-day basis, they do follow that. They're over there, side by side, and they're in 9th and 10th grade. So I've built the foundation of them being able to work independently by doing things like you heard me say that she does in the 5th grade, is coming upstairs and working on a few things diligently by herself. So laying that foundation really leads to a fruitful high school homeschooling experience. So the way that I work with my high schoolers is over here on these subjects that they're doing upstairs. Keep in mind, we just learned together for about 2 hours, is they're mostly able to work independently over there. They have a basket there in the center. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's teal. And anything that they do that needs a grade, it goes in the basket. And on Friday, I grade their work. So we go over everything. So Fridays are like our weekly check-ins. I enter in their grades for the various curriculums we use. I look at their language arts units if they've completed those. We go over all of their science together. And then of course, if they come across something that they're doing and they have a question, they can ask me right away. So, but as far as like teaching them, I am not sitting over there side by side and teaching them how to write sentences anymore. They are just continuing learning more and expanding their knowledge on things. And I'm here to support that, facilitate that, encourage that, sometimes offer guidance or discipline when needed, but I am not teaching them their math and science courses anymore. So I'm up here working with my little two. They know that if they need something, they can ask me. They follow the schedule that I gave them, and then on Fridays I enter in all their grades. So that's a little bit of how I'm doing it with my older two kids. So now I'm up here and she's patiently waiting, so we're gonna get started on her language arts. Checkered.
Checkered was the sky. Think clouds like scarves of cobweb lawn.
Cobweb lawn.
Cobweb lawn.
Veiled.
Heaven's most glorious eye. The wind had no more strength than this, that leisurely it blew to make one leaf the next to kiss, that closely by it grew.
The Sun by who?
By John Drinkwater. I told the sun that I was glad. I'm sure I don't know why. Somehow the pleasant way he had of the shining sky just put a notion in my head that wouldn't it be fun if walking on the hill I said I'm happy to the sun.
Okay, so we're looking at the rhyming scheme in these poems of A, B, A, B. So that means the first line rhymes with the third and the second rhymes with the fourth. So does dawn rhyme with lawn?
Yes.
Does sky rhyme with I?
Yes.
What about this and kiss?
Yes.
Blue and grew?
Yes.
Now how about this one? Does this one have the same rhyme scheme? So it's the first and the third and the second and the fourth that rhyme.
Glad and had rhyme.
Uh-huh. And what about Y and sky?
Yeah.
So they
yes.
both have the same rhyming scheme. Okay, over here, an independent clause needs a subject, verb, and a complete thought. The subject of a sentence is who or what is doing or being. The subject can be a pronoun like he, she, it, they, them. Put a box around the subject in each sentence. The first row is done for you. So these are the subjects in the sentence. It's who or what is doing. Notice that it's not always at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So you're going to put a box around the subject of these sentences. So homeschooling multiple kids for me looks a lot like getting her going, and then she's going to finish that up while meanwhile over here my son is waiting for spelling because he's completed his lesson. So I check his lesson, then we do his sentence dictation or his challenging words, and I just work in opposition. So I'll work with her, then I'll work with him, then he'll move on to something and kind of like go back and forth like that. So that's the way that I do it. That's the way that's worked best for me. So I get her going on something, then I'll work with him and then come back to her, check it, you know, that type of thing. So I just wanted to point out right now that I just was working on sentence dictation with my 7th grader, and my son, who is in the 9th grade this year, had a practice test in his physical science course, and he needs me to go over his incorrect answers with him. So that he brought the laptop over to me because I log into my parent portal, and so I'm going to go over his answers with him. But she's working independently. I've got my son fixing his errors on his language arts, and so now I'm working with him. So it's just always you know, a juggling act of multiple kids, but they for the most part understand if I'm working with one. They wait for them to be done, not perfectly, but they do a decent job at that. So I just wanted to point out, you know, that he needed something, because I just got done telling you how they work very independently, and he does. He took his test on his own, but I do go over the answers with him, so that's what we're gonna do now. Lunch break time. Post lunch, he's working on his high school language arts, algebra 2, math, and she's starting math. So again, I ping pong around to help everybody get done what they need to get done. Okay guys, it is about 1:30 and my youngest just finished up with her last subject for the day, which is math. So I'm gonna check it for her right now. We go over things right then. So if she makes a mistake, we work it out, we do it together, and then we work on mental math for about 5 minutes, and then that's it. My son in the 7th grade has already completed all of his schoolwork for the day. So as you guys can see, he has put his things back in there, and now he is playing quietly in his room. My older two are still working, and that is usually the case for us. So one of the most challenging things is when you have kids spanning grades, they're not all going to finish their schoolwork at the exact same time. And so one of our biggest challenges is, what do my younger kids do to be, you know, respectful, but also they want to play and talk and, you know, do those kinds of things. So that is a bit of a challenge, and we just try to take each day, you know, as one. We don't have like a set rule for anything, but in general, my kids will go play quietly in their room until their siblings finish up with their schoolwork. So I'm gonna check her math, and then basically I will be done teaching for the day. It will just be making sure that my high schoolers are staying on track, staying focused, completing what they need to, and offering encouragement and support as they need it. So yeah, that'll be kind of like the last thing that I have to do. I just finished looking over her math using my teacher's guide, and she got 100% on math today. We love a day when we don't need to make any corrections. So now I'm just gonna have her sit down for her mental math, which I keep right here. And we just do, you know, 4 or 5 mental math problems each day, just so that that is a good strength of hers. So that is gonna be it for this homeschool with me. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing a little peek into my homeschooling day and how I manage everything with having 4 kids across 4 different grades. Obviously, I could not show you every last little detail. There's a lot of schooling that happened in between the clips that I showed, but I do think you guys can get a general idea of the way that I do things. And I hope you found it helpful or informative. Make sure you check out the links to Butcher box, take advantage of the free chicken for a year offer that will be down below. It's available for a limited time only, so do not wait. That link will be down below for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys again really soon. Bye, friends.